Hey everyone, today we're diving into something that is literally an invisible problem. It's this hidden wealth destroyer that stops everyday, normal people from building true wealth. And the thing is, it's a financial leak happening right under our noses. But the good news? Fixing it doesn't require a finance degree. You just have to know where to look. So let's dive right into this explainer.
So, think about the financial mistakes we usually stress over. Buying a car we really can't afford, racking up credit card debt, or maybe making a totally bad or real estate investment. But what if I told you there's one specific fee out there that can cost you way more money than most of those classic mistakes? And the craziest part is, most people never even see it happening. It is quietly destroying your wealth simply because it happens entirely out of sight. I mean, imagine for a second if your bank sent you a loud, painful invoice in the mail for 800 euros and the receipt literally just said, expensive fund fee. You'd be furious, right? You'd probably march straight down to the branch and demand answers. But actually, that's not what happens at all. These fund fees don't notify you. You don't get a friendly text message saying, hey, we charged you for investing today. They are just silently, quietly scraped straight from your money right inside the fund itself. And because nobody ever sees a painful invoice, well, nobody gets angry about them.
Okay, let's move to section 1, how fees actually work. This is the invisible cost of investing. First, let's cover the basics. When you invest in a fund, there are obviously costs involved, right? Things like management fees, administrative costs, maybe entry or exit fees. But the absolutely crucial thing for us to understand is the concept of ongoing charges. You see, many of these costs are not paid as a separate bill. They're already deducted inside the fund's overall value. So when you open your banking app to check your balance, those fees, they've already been removed. The true cost of the product is baked right in, completely hidden from your view. Let's put some real numbers to this to make it crystal clear. Imagine you invest just 100 euros a month for 30 years. Over that time, your total contribution, the actual money coming out of your pocket, is 36,000 euros. Now, let's assume a hypothetical gross return of 7% per year. That's the profit the market gives you before the bank takes their cut. And just to be clear, this isn't a promise of what the market will do. It's just a mathematical baseline so we can compare some scenarios.
All right, look at the massive difference over time here. We've got three very different fee scenarios. Scenario 1 is a low-cost product with about a 0.2% annual cost. Scenario 2 is a fund costing around 1% a year. And Scenario 3 is an expensive fund costing around 2% per year. Now, hearing that out loud, 2% sounds absolutely tiny, doesn't it? But because it's paid every single year, the gap between these outcomes isn't just a few bucks. It literally becomes tens or even hundreds of thousands of euros over the long term.
So here is the biggest takeaway of all. Fees are so dangerous because they attack compound interest from the inside. You aren't just losing that tiny 2% fee today. You are losing all the future growth of the money that disappeared into that fee. The money is gone, which means it can't grow next year or the year after that. It's basically a silent double blow to your future wealth. To really visualize this, think of your investment like a snowball rolling down a mountain. If things go well, that snowball gathers more snow, getting exponentially larger and larger as it rolls. That is compound interest working its absolute magic. But high fees, they act like a hand constantly scraping ice off that snowball while it rolls. At first, in year 1 or 2, you barely even notice the scraping. The snowball looks totally fine. But after 20 or 30 years, the difference in the size of that snowball is absolutely enormous. That scraping hand has quietly chipped away a massive chunk of your potential wealth, just a little bit at a time.
Which brings us to section 2. Why do we pay more? Let's look at the psychology of expensive funds.
If it's this damaging, why on earth do we accept it? Well, a few common money behaviors trip us up. First,
A beginner often just walks into their bank, asks for something to invest in, and blindly accepts whatever fund the bank offers. It sounds super professional and expertly managed, but with high costs, you're starting a marathon wearing a heavy backpack. Second, funds are usually sold to us, not chosen by us after comparing options. And third, the 2% illusion. Our brains are simply tricked here. €2 out of 100 just doesn't feel dramatic. It sounds artificially small.
So what should you actually look out for? Here are your red flags. First, always check the fund's fact sheet for the ongoing charges. Find that actual number. Second, compare it. If it's a global equities fund, stack it up against global index funds or ETFs. Third, ask what actual value you're receiving. Paying more isn't always terrible, but only if it genuinely improves your odds of success. Fourth, watch out for complex packaged bank products that deliberately make the real cost harder to see. And finally, don't rely solely on past performance. A fund might have had a good year, but still be an incredibly expensive, poor choice for your future.
All right, Section 3, the golden rule of fees. Because time magnifies everything. The golden rule is actually pretty simple. If you invest for the short term, fees matter. If you invest for the long term, fees matter a lot. But if you're investing for 20, 30, or 40 years, fees become the single most important variable in your entire financial plan. Over those decades, a quote-unquote tiny 2% fee can literally dictate whether or not you achieve financial freedom. It is quite literally the difference between retiring comfortably or working several extra years just to catch up. So let's fix it. Section 4, Steps to Take Today. This is your wealth protection plan.
Treat this like your personal checklist. Step 1. Pull up the fact sheets for your current funds and actually write down the ongoing charges. See it on paper. Step 2. Double-check for any hidden entry, exit, or performance fees. Step 3. Compare what you're paying now to similar low-cost alternatives. Now, Step 4 is absolutely critical. Do not change anything impulsively. Before you sell, you have to consider taxes, transfer costs, and your overall timeline. And finally, Step 5, if you don't understand it, just don't invest until you do.
Remember this, your money doesn't need hurry, it needs clarity. The most dangerous fee out there is not the one that looks big and scary. It's the one that looks incredibly small, repeats every single year, and quietly scrapes the ice off your snowball from the inside out. You really don't need to be a financial expert to fix this. You just need to start looking closely at what you're actually paying. Because honesty, understanding money truly can change your life. If you enjoy learning about money in a simple and practical way, subscribe to Finanzas Muy Fácil, like this explainer, and share it with someone who could benefit from it. Before you go, ask yourself, what hidden fees are quietly scraping the ice off your snowball right now? Take control of those hidden costs, and I'll see you in the next explainer.